Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the Hollywood Museum at Highland and Hollywood, and it's one of the famous landmarks. It's in the old Max Factor building. Our guests are Alex Fernandez and artist Shayna LaBeouf. Actor Alex Fernandez, also known as director Guillermo Cienfuegos, was born and raised in Miami. He went to the American Conservatory Theater, the ACT, in San Francisco. He's worked in LA. He's very involved in the theater community in Los Angeles, and for more than 20 years he's been here. He's had recurring roles on many TV shows. And was show business in your family?
Not really. There wasn't much. I had an uncle who tried to be an actor.
Tried to be?
I hope he doesn't watch this.
Did he try to be a director?
He did not try to be a director. No, he worked in Los Angeles in voiceover and looping stuff, but my family wasn't really a showbiz family. It was very working class, and so...
Then how did you decide to be an actor?
Just bad sense, I guess. Just not much of a brain in my head.
And then how did you get then to the ACT?
Well, I had started acting in high school, and I sort of fell in love with the theater, and I started looking at what I wanted to do. I decided that college was not really going to work out for me. I didn't want to go to college. So I found these acting conservatories, and ACT was in this beautiful city of San Francisco, so I auditioned for that.
Did you work there after you finished?
Yeah, I worked at that theater. I got my equity card at the American Conservatory Theater.
Do you have to audition to get into that program?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
I auditioned 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was put on the wait list, and 1 year some other Latino actor dropped out, so they had to fill the quota, and so they called me up.
That was good.
So I thank that guy. Every time I see that guy, I thank that guy.
Is he still around?
Yeah, he's still working. He's good. Yeah.
Did you work in San Francisco then in their small theaters? And
yeah, I worked at a place called the Magic Theater and San Francisco Shakespeare Festival. Yeah. And, a lot of Eureka and the Encore Theater Company before coming down to Los Angeles.
They have a lot of theater in San Francisco. Yes. And then why did you come to LA if you had all those theaters up there?
Well, I thought that I'd planned to just spend my career as just sort of a theater gypsy, you know, and my wife at the time got into school in Los Angeles, so we moved down here. And then I just sort of started working here and kind of fell in love with it.
Did you get into TV right away, or did you just stick with stage?
I tried to get into TV right away.
Why was it hard?
Yeah,
but you were stage. You were on all the time.
Yeah, I was working consistently in the theater and down in San Diego at the Old Globe.
Which was great.
Yeah, it was wonderful. But TV is a hard racket to get into. It took me a good 10 or 12 years.
Even though you had all that background?
Yeah. I think so much has to do with casting, and I think that I was always an older guy, even if I was in a younger body. So I didn't start working. I didn't start working until I lost my hair, and I got.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think I kind of had this authority of a middle-aged guy, even when I was.
And even if you had 2 names, it didn't make any difference.
I did not have the 2 names at that time.
You didn't. But you have a recurring role in ABC's Castle.
Well, no, I did 1 episode of Castle. I recur on a show on Lifetime called Devious Maids.
Oh, is that? Oh, you do?
Yes.
So how long has that been running?
That's been it just started its 2nd season, and then I had a series. I starred in a series on ABC called Killer Women that just finished its run.
But you're on the stage again.
Yes.
And at the same time, how do you juggle that?
It's luck, I guess. I've been able to continue working on TV, and I have a wonderful home at the Pacific Resident Theater in Venice.
That's a great theater.
It is.
It's on Venice Boulevard.
You interviewed some time ago Wendy Johnson, who
I did.
wrote a play about Judy Holliday that I directed there.
Oh, you directed that?
Yes. Well, Guillermo directed it there.
Oh, I didn't know Guillermo directed it. We should have. I thought your name was very familiar, not Alex Fernandez. Yes, that was great. I came and saw that.
Yeah, I
They have
remember.
They have a couple of stages there.
We have 3 spaces there, the large space and then a couple small. And we're doing Henry V now, Shakespeare's Henry V, in the smallest space.
I was just going to ask you about that because, first of all, I want to know if you trained in the classics at ACT.
Oh, boy, that's all we did.
So that's what took you to Henry V, which is at the Pacific Residence.
I hadn't had a lot of chance to work Shakespeare since graduating from school and working in San Francisco because TV doesn't really call for those skills.
No. So what happened? How did you do that?
Well, my friend Joe McGovern, who plays the king, Henry V in this production, proposed the idea. And I've been directing a lot of projects, and I've been wanting to direct a Shakespeare. And I've been working a lot on these ideas of this sort of staging idea I have of trying to use film editing techniques on the stage, and it seemed like Henry V.
Oh, film editing.
Yeah, sort of like I stage a play so that it
looks like you've edited it?
Yeah, it feels like it has crossfades and close-ups.
Oh, that's interesting.
But Shakespeare's Henry V is kind of like Shakespeare's action movie, and so it seemed like
there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you talked about the lead, who's playing Henry V.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in it?
I am in it. I play the chorus in it. I'm the narrator, storyteller.
Oh, you're the narrator,
yeah.
But you're the director. Now tell me why you're Cienfuegos. Fuegos?
Fuegos.
Oh, Fuegos.
Guillermo Cienfuegos.
So 100 fires?
That's right. Very good, Joan.
I loved it because I love that word. And Guillermo Memo.
That's right, Memo. That's right. Or Gmo. You can call me Gmo if you want.
I don't know about Gmo.
The younger kids call me Gmo.
So let's start with Memo. Let's start with Cienfuegos, the director. How are you directing this Henry V?
Well, it goes back to the first play I directed in Los Angeles, a play called Pains of Youth. And it was written by a writer named Ferdinand Bruckner. But as it turned out, that play was written under a pseudonym because it was actually written by a guy named Theodore Tagger. And so I thought it was appropriate that I was in it and directing it, that I should direct it under a pseudonym. So I made up this very interesting and intelligent man named Guillermo Cienfuegos.
Is that when it first started?
Yeah. I wanted audiences and critics or whatever who came to see the play to watch it on its own merits and not judge whether or not I did a good job as both director and actor.
Of both together.
But then Guillermo got so much better reviews than I ever got.
And Guillermo did a lot of work.
Guillermo's been. It's a shame to cut off his promising career.
Are you cutting it off?
No.
No, because he's done more work on stage than Alex has, probably, right?
He's certainly gotten more attention. Yeah.
Yeah. So
after I was outed in the Los Angeles Times as being both Guillermo and Alex, I've been keeping it sort of a secret for a while.
Was that the first time when they did that article?
Yeah.
Oh, because I thought it was funny when I was like, who is this? Am I interviewing 2 people? And then I read the article and I knew what was happening. Yeah. But I think it's great. A lot of people do that. Yeah, authors do that. Yeah. I don't know why. I guess because they're afraid to put their name on something that they're not sure of.
When you get to a certain, like for instance, J.K. Rowling, her work is so well known that she probably figured that it wouldn't be read with a fresh eye if they knew it was her, because it was so different from the Harry Potter books. So.
And do you feel the same way, that they're looking at it in a different way?
I feel like most of the plays I've directed I have not been in. It was just that one that I acted in. But after that, it did so well, I didn't want to just sort of cut off Guillermo Cienfuegos, so I just kept directing everything under that name. And it just makes it, in this case, I'm acting and directing both of it, and it's better for the audience to sort of just watch the play and not wonder, how did that guy direct if he's standing over there?
Well, I think that's the question. How do you direct if you're standing over there?
I've developed a technique that fortunately, there's a wonderful actor named Dan Cole who also shares the role of the chorus with me, and he did most of the rehearsing of the play.
Oh,
so I was able to direct it with him in place.
So the chorus is the narrator?
Yes.
And so he narrated for you while you were directing?
Right, I could stage the play with him in place,
and
then step in when it was time for me to sort of take over the role.
But
whenever I get a TV show out of town or something, I go back to shoot Devious Maids. He plays the role. And,
he can do that. So if you're standing there and something's going wrong on the stage and you're at the chorus, do you go, oh no, I've got to do something with that?
I hope not. I hope no one can read my mind when things are rolling around there, when something goes haywire.
They don't look over at you and go, oh, I made a mistake.
No, we're all a real tight ensemble.
You really are there, aren't you?
Yeah, everybody there is Pacific Resident Theater is a very special theater in Los Angeles.
And they can all play different roles, they all look so great in those roles.
We've got about 30 characters in Henry V, all played by 11 actors.
Oh, you do? Okay, so Henry V is in the smallest theater.
That's right.
34 seats?
That's right.
I mean, you must be right on top of the audience.
Yes, we are.
Well, does it annoy you?
No, I love it because I get to talk directly at them. You know, maybe I annoy them.
I don't know. It's scary.
You should ask them if they're annoyed.
Sometimes it's difficult.
Yeah. But
because you're actually, you know, you're watching a play.
Shakespeare, the chorus speech at the beginning of the very famous speech, "Oh, for a muse of fire," that's where we took the whole production from, because we tell the audience that we don't have anything. We don't have costumes, we don't have sets, it's all going to be your imagination.
That's the beginning.
Yes.
And it is like that, right?
Yeah, we're wearing our street clothes and we don't have any sets, and we create the entire play with only what happens to be in the room, and fortunately people have been really enjoying it.
Why, if you had a choice of 3 other size theaters, would you take that smallest one?
Because it's such a gigantic war play. The story of Henry.
I know, but don't you want it in a big place?
No,
it's a
because
war
the
play.
chorus specific. We're taking the chorus at his word. He's specifically saying that we don't have enough here to tell you the breadth of this story. So in the smallest space, it's kind of like a greater challenge for us to be able to tell the story of England coming to France and the French war fields and the transfer of thrones, if we do it in this small space, because it really forces all of us and the audience to use their imagination. It's kind of the original Game of Thrones.
Is there a stage?
There is a stage. It's just a bare stage. Yeah.
Is it elevated?
No, it's on the same.
Oh, it's like the same level.
The audience is raked slightly. So.
The audience is raked. So you play to them, but
Right.
you move within the audience.
We have we go through them and past them and behind them and
Do you?
yeah. And so far so good. People are liking it. We're playing to a lot of sold out houses. And
Would this be transferable to another theater?
I think we could literally play this anywhere. We could play it in a parking lot. I think we could play this in Edinburgh. We could play this anywhere.
Would it be Fringe Festival?
I would love that.
Work?
I think that I'm very proud of it, and I think the ensemble works so tightly that I believe that any audience would be able to get engaged in this story in a very powerful way.
What about filming it? Have you thought about that? Or
I have.
you filmed it?
Well, we've shot it for archival purposes to make sure we have a tape, but
would it make a movie?
I think so. I've got a trick or two.
Oh,
up my
you
sleeve.
do?
I'll go talk to Guillermo and see what he thinks.
Oh, Guillermo will probably be for it,
Yeah.
directing it.
Yeah.
What else are you doing right now besides Maids?
Devious Maids. As you said, I did an episode of Castle that premieres in May, and I did an episode of a TNT show called The Last Ship.
Oh, and what kind of characters do you usually play? You don't play Hispanic, do you?
I do. I go back.
But you don't look like you play Hispanic.
Yeah, it's very fortunate that I can play Latino characters, but not be so typed into it. I play all kinds of characters. The common denominator is really that they're all authority figures for some reason.
Is that right?
Yeah. Even if I play a junkie, I'm like the head junkie.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Have you played a junkie?
I have actually.
Were you the head junkie?
I was kind of bossy.
Were you? Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Very
on a show
good.
called Without a Trace.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, Alex, I'm so glad you came.
Joan, it's been a pleasure.
And be sure to say hello to Guillermo and tell him that I love the play that he directed at the Pacific Residence Theater. And we'll come and see your play.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank
Look forward
you.
to it.
And don't go away. We'll be right back with artist Shayna LaBeouf. And her work is on the set right now. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and we're back with the Joan Quinn Profiles, and we're taping at the Hollywood Museum on Highland and Hollywood. I'm here with artist Shayna LaBeouf, who was born and raised in New York. She went to Fashion Institute of Design in Los Angeles. But Shayna is a woman of evolution in her personal and artistic life. She toured the U.S. and Europe with a dance partner in modern dance and jazz. She moved on to years in fashion when she sold to Bendel's and trendy boutiques in Los Angeles and New York. And for the last decade,
Yes.
and the future, I presume, her mysterious and mythological art is on the set. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's a joy.
You do have an eccentric history your family. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was born and raised on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. My father, may he rest in peace, came from Białystok, Poland. My mother from Russia. And so they were immigrants. My mother, no, but my father, yes. And he came here with his brothers, mother and father, and then Hitler took everyone else.
So you went to the Catskills a lot with them.
I met many years in the Catskills. I spent most of my childhood, early years in the Catskills.
Did that influence your dance profession?
I think it did. It influenced that, and it influenced the inner work a lot, because my mother, being very free with me, allowed me to go roam in the forest.
Because that was a time when you probably had to be tight with your family.
Yes, but
under guard.
Yeah, my father, he was working most of the time. He was a barber. He came here as an artist with his canvases in his hand.
Oh, so that's the artist DNA.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Exactly.
But it took some time for it to come out because you were dancing.
I was dancing. I started dancing at a very young age. And for me, it was a way of expressing myself where words didn't come so freely.
Ah, I see.
And so I would observe. And then, dance was a way to me to express myself and I think catch my father's attention.
Did you take dance lessons?
I did.
Oh, so you had a professional career. You went to Europe.
Yeah.
And who did you open for?
Well, I started dancing at a very young age, and I think the first show I did was at the Białystok home, and I was 10 years old.
At their home?
Yeah, the Białystok home is a very historical Hebrew home in New York City on the Lower East Side. And all of the immigrants came from Eastern Europe, and they landed on the Lower East Side.
And you were a youngster then?
I was a youngster, but, I mean, it had gone on way before I was born. And so, yeah, I danced there when I was very, very young, and that was my first stage. And I just recently visited it. The stage is still there, but of course it's been taken over because the money has not been the way it was before.
How did you find a partner to be a professional dancer with you?
Well, that's an interesting story. I kind of left my home, not by my own choice, when I was very young. Because, well, my father was he was very strict. Daddy was very strict. And he wanted me to be only with Jewish people. And I wanted to explore the world. My father explored the world, and I would watch him and say, why you, Daddy, not me?
Right.
And, so, he wanted me to go to yeshiva, which I did. And yeshiva was beautiful, but it was gray. And I wanted color, I wanted life, and it was very quiet. And so I started to explore. And by exploring, later on, of course, he was not happy with me exploring. And so he kind of sent me away when I was 19, and he sent me to Florida to keep me safe.
Why did you give up that career?
I gave up the career not because I wanted to, because I injured myself. And one day I was on stage, I think it was in Chicago, and I passed out on stage. And I had realized that I had injured my neck. I used to do a lot of adagio. Adagio is lifts and spins in the air. Ice skaters do adagio. And so we used to do that as part of the dance, as part of our act, actually. And we opened for many people. And one day I passed out, and that's when I realized I couldn't do it anymore.
Who were the people?
We opened the show for, Sarah Vaughan and Dizzy Gillespie and many comedians and many Catskill comedians. And, it was
very interesting that they had a dance routine.
They do.
Opening.
Oh, they had opening act. There were many famous dance teams at the time.
Oh, Velez and Yolanda.
That was before me. But that was before.
Idea,
they had the
right?
Albies and the McKays. There was Cucho and Shayna, which was I, and Cucho. I'm trying to recall now all of
that sounds great.
Had a great adagio teacher by the name of Rudy. And when I would go to CBS studios and study with Rudy for hours.
Here in L.A.?
No, New York City.
Oh, CBS
studios in New York. I used to peek my head into the Spanish flamenco room, and it would just throw me and thrill me.
But you're so short for a dancer, aren't
I know.
you?
Yes, but you know what? This is what's interesting. When I was home not too long ago, I went to Alvin Ailey. I went to the Alvin Ailey. And the Alvin Ailey is an extensive company.
Right.
The most powerful dancer in the company was tiny like me, and it blew me away.
So that was great.
It was fabulous.
So from there, why didn't you go into show business?
Well, you know, show business, my father was, as well as a barber, he was a singer, he was a writer, he used to write for the Forvets. And
But you have a son who's in show business.
yes, I do.
Did he obviously took after your father then?
Yes, he does. He's named after my father as well.
Oh, he is?
Yes, he is.
What was your father's name?
Shia.
Shia.
Said.
Said.
Shia Said.
Yeah,
Shia is a Hebrew name, and it means gift from God.
Ah,
And
so Said is S-A-I-D-E.
Yes, which I'm sure they changed.
Oh.
When he came to Ellis Island, then
Right.
they went through, and I know
Everybody had
but
their
I
names
don't,
changed.
but I don't know to what, you know, it was
From
before.
what to, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, so so instead of you going into show business, your son went into show business.
Right, and the extent, he decided. I didn't decide.
You did.
Mommy didn't decide. No,
But then you went into fashion.
I went into fashion.
So I'm trying to get to
see
our
what
wonderful
yeah.
things
See
here.
what happened. What happened was when I stopped dance, the energy went to into my hands, and so I started creating. And I said, "Wow, I want to three-dimensionalize my ideas, my vision." And so I said, "Let me go to FID and pattern making.
Oh.
That's what I want, pattern making." And then I went. So I went.
And you made bags, you made accessories.
Well, I make a lot of accessories. I love accessories, but I design for many people in the downtown fashion industry itself.
Oh, you did other names?
Oh,
You mean like fashion names?
yeah,
You did the designing?
Yeah, I did their designing, and I think in that evolution, I met someone, fell in love, and became a mommy.
Now we've morphed from that into sculpture.
We're more present time
But
now.
the interesting thing is what you've taken. Can I call them vintage bags?
They are vintage bags.
And you've collaged them.
Exactly.
And you're calling them sculptures
They
now,
are, yes.
which they are, and they're
Yes.
being shown at the DNA.
Yes.
And
J&A Gallery.
yeah.
Yes.
And the name of your show is Invitation
to a Dream.
to a Dream.
Yes.
And these are all dream objects.
They're dream objects from inside and outside.
These are beautiful.
Thank you.
They're like beautiful little cases that are so perfect. Tell us about the one behind me.
That one is called Child of Wonder, actually. And I think, most of these pieces are a spontaneous evolution from the world within myself. And so in a quiet, meditative place, I go within, and I have all of these little things around me, fabrics and toys and broken pieces. And
Where'd you find them all?
Oh, they just show up in my life.
Do you go out and buy them?
No, not so
you
much.
don't?
Some of them.
But you don't break up pieces?
No, they have to be broken. And symbolically, because seriously, doing this art was a way for me to put myself together and the broken parts of myself together. And as I was doing the work, I kind of healed my own life.
And so how did these get displayed? Can I pick this up?
Sure.
I'm going to hold this. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Pansy.
Yeah.
I'm going to open it because it has flowers on the inside.
It has a hand pouring water. It's all symbolic. All of this is very symbolic
so
to me.
The back.
Thank you.
And you can see this has the artist's hand. This isn't made by someone else. This is made by the artist.
Oh, no, yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes, it is.
And this one next to you is so beautiful, too.
Thank you. Yes. Upon the insistence of someone very dear to me, I would continue doing this work until God brought me home, actually, and not really want to show it. But I was given an edict, actually, that I'd had to show my work, finally, because I'd been doing this work for a very long time.
So how did that come to you?
The work or the decision?
Spiritual kind of thing, because there's so much spiritual.
There's so much
going around here.
Right, exactly. But so much to talk about that I have to say in a moment, in a quiet moment,
That it comes to you like that?
Yeah.
Let me show this. This is one of my favorites. Love
has no equal.
Love has no equal.
Right.
It's like the Madonna.
Has no equal.
It's fantastic.
Love has no equal. It can heal the world, like music.
Woman of Mystery.
Woman of Mystery, which is a belt buckle.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You're wearing a belt buckle
I am
today.
wearing a belt buckle.
Okay, and then this one, let's talk about this one, Holy Child.
Holy Child. There's another belt buckle.
Is that
And
right?
yeah, and I'm not showing these at the show.
Oh, they won't be there.
No, they won't be there.
Tell us what will be at the show.
What will be at the show will be 33 wall pieces.
Like these?
Like these, 33.
And let's talk about this as you're talking about it,
This
this one.
salvation of 9/11, actually. I mean, this happened. Well, it's a whole.
Looks like the Mother Mary.
It is. It's the Holy Spirit saving. You know, salvation was what the New York people needed at the time because it was so traumatic. I was there with my mother day before it happened.
I was there too.
Day before it happened because I lived on the Lower East Side, and I.
But you were really close to it. I was on the Upper East Side.
Okay, no, I was in it, and I took Mom for lunch.
Oh,
and I said, Mom, let's go for lunch. And I remember saying to her, wow, Mom, look at how beautiful it is here. And all these people, they're just going to get a breath of air outside by the water.
It was a beautiful day,
It was
wasn't
a beautiful day. And then I said goodbye to Mom. I got on the plane, and the next day.
Oh, you left that day.
The next day.
I was still there. The next day.
So,
and you know what you're saying, how the Spirit moves you. I kept saying after a day or two, I need to go to a museum. I need to listen to some music. I needed something like that to fill myself.
Yes.
I know you've talked about all of this, but just before we leave, and I know that you've mentioned your influences, but will you elaborate a little bit more on those influences? Because they seem to come from biblical and different sources.
I think a major influence, my father was a great influence on me. My mother was a great influence on me. Anna Naila, my ballet teacher, was a great influence on me.
And before, one quickly, you give some of your proceeds to charity.
Yes, I do. There's two charities in particular, but this one in particular is healing, trauma, people who have trauma through the arts. And so in me, that happened for me. And so
that's a wonderful way to end, that you give, they give to you. All these people have given to you,
like
and
we
you're
give,
giving to them.
Like we give.
Thank you. I hope we gave you a good show today, too. Thanks for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles.